Salvete discibili, quid agitis. Welcome to Grammatica Latina, or Latin grammar for caput unus. In other words, chapter 1, stage 1. Let's get going. Okay, so I'm going to start us off with a factum ludibundum. That is a fun fact. Notice we get the word fact. It is a derivative from Latin. Ludibundum is a fun word, meaning fun. So here's my fact. The first arcade game was created in 1972 called Pong. So some of you may argue this point. You may say, Magistra, Miss B, yo, it wasn't Pong. There were other video games before that. I'm aware. I'm saying the first arcade game, okay? For those of you that don't know what Pong is, I'm bringing up a little clip. It's based off of the game of ping pong, hence the name, or table tennis, right? Which is based off of actual tennis. And there you go. There's the ball bouncing back and forth here in a second. Oh, there are the paddles. This guy on the right's really bad. He fails. Oh. So, you're probably thinking, why is Magistra showing us this? Is she crazy? What does this have to do with the Romans? Well, the Romans did not have video games, but they did have many types of ball games. And just as Pong is based off of ping pong, which is based off of tennis, the Romans had games that were the precursors or ancestors of our modern games, like tennis and like football. Factum ludibundum. Obiectivo, what are you supposed to actually be learning today? Well, I want you to be able to recognize Latin verbs. I want you to be able to classify them as state of being or action. This will help when we're creating sentences. And I want you to be able to comprehend simple Latin sentences. So read them and understand them, or hear them and understand them with third-person singular verbs. Grammatica Latina, remember there are many parts of speech in both Latin and English. Hopefully you know what all of these are. If you don't, then I can give you some resources, help you find ways to study for them, but I'm assuming you know them. We're focused on verbs. So just so you guys know, impictura est meus canis. It's my dog, Milk Duds. Milk Duds, catum consumit. So, what does this say? Well, if we know that catum means cat and consumit means consume, because those words are derivatives from these Latin words, then we can easily say Milk Duds eats or consumes the cat. You would be correct. So our first thing in knowing if something is a verb or what kind of word it is simply going to be knowing the dictionary entry. What does it mean? And we know consume is an action. So, it's a verb. It's an action verb. In Latin, this T ending is a verb ending. So, that's another clue. Also, it comes last in the sentence. Did you notice that? Consume it is at the end. Action verbs often, more often than not, come at the very end of the sentence. So, those are all verb clues. Ille est mini dachshund. Ille means he in Latin. Mini dachshund is just mini dachshund. It's the breed. Est is our verb. Okay, you should know from vocabulary that this means is. So it is a state of being verb, or a SOBE. These are also called linking verbs because they link one part of the sentence to another, acting like an equal sign. Right? He is a mini dachshund. That's his breed. Notice that we still have this T ending. Okay? That's the verb ending. But the verb doesn't come last. SOBE verbs often come in the middle and connect the two things just like in English. He is a mini dachshund. Ille est mini dachshund. See? Okay, so in Latin we need to talk about something called conjugating, because the verbs in Latin change endings to show who is doing the action. So if I am doing the action, then the ending is different than if you are or he is. Let's look at just a quick example of this. So if I want to say he works, I need to use this T ending. Okay, remember I said that was a verb ending. But if I want to say you work, then in Latin I say laboras. And that is an S ending. So Latin changes the very end. Notice the rest of the verb is the same. The stem The root of the word is the same. It's just that ending that's changing to show who does the action. This process, when the ending changes, when you actually change it, is called conjugating. So all it means is to change the ending of a verb. How you're actually supposed to conjugate in the present tense. I want to stress that this is for present tense because that's what we're focusing on, doing what is happening now. You go to the second part in the dictionary. So every verb that we have, and you'll see this the more words we get, has many parts to it. For most action verbs, they have 4 parts. We're going to go to the second one and ignore the rest. So for the word work, which was our example above, as laboro, laborari, laboravi, laboratus, we're going to go to that second principal part, ignoring the others. Once we get there, we're going to get rid of this re to get the stem of the verb. So it's labora. And then we're going to add the ending we want. Remember, we added a T because we wanted to say he. Or if I wanted to say you work, I added an S, laboros. So let's talk about third person singular because I said we want to read sentences with that. That's that T ending. That T ending I keep stressing. It's third person, meaning that whoever is doing the action must be a he, a she, or an it. And it's singular, no they. That means that the T ending can never, ever say I, we, they, you, or any other point of view. These are out. It has to say he, she, or it. So a couple of exempla. Puella laborat. That says the girl works. And notice the verb ends in a T because the girl is a she, right? I didn't say I work. I didn't say you work. I said the girl works, and the girl is third person. It's a she, so she works. I could also just say laborat, and that could potentially be he works, or she works, or it works. I don't know without having more information. But that's what the T and D stands for, is a he, a she, or an it doing the action. That was action verbs, but we also have so-be verbs, state of being. The only one you have to worry about right now is est, okay? And it means is. Notice that that T still means he, she, or it. It cannot mean I, we, they, you, or anything else. Examples again. Puella est says the girl is. And that T is there because the girl is a she. Or just est. He, she, it, or there is. State of being verbs get this unique way of being able to say there is something, okay? When we're not exactly sure what the subject is. So, est is the only one you can have to worry about. This is the most important thing. Alright, so present tense action verbs. This is the last thing I want to talk to you about because in Latin, even just with that T ending, there are actually 3 ways to translate the simple little word laborat. And you thought, well, you already told me 3 ways. I can say he works, she works, or it works. Oh, but there's more. You don't just get to decide the subject. You can also say is working, he, she, or it is working, or he, she, or it does work. So let's say I know the subject is a he. Let's get rid of our subject choices for just a second. I could still translate laborat as he works, he is working, or he does work. How are you going to decide? Well, you're going to use context, right? And you're going to decide what sounds the best. Or, if you want to say he works, you say laborat. If you want to say he is working, you say laborat. If you want to say he does work, you say laborat. Latin does not need separate words for this is or does. These are helping verbs in English, and Latin has no separate word for helping verbs. It's all included in the one word. Well, there you go. There's your third person singular, present tense action, and so-be verbs.